I'm back, guys. I'm back. Hopefully, you guys can hear me okay. Got everything up, set up, and ready to go. It's just a little weird being back at Stockwatch Sunday. I haven't had a YouTube video out in like a week and a half. I'm going to explain all of that, but first, before I go into that, I'm going to talk about tonight's Stockwatch Sunday, as we always do, with the top 6 stocks that I'm watching for the month of July. Now, these aren't the ones that I'm telling you to just go out and buy. Obviously, you have to do your own due diligence, all that. And if you don't buy into something that you don't understand, all that good stuff. But these are ones that I think are worth at least taking a watch to see if there's any kind of pullback after they've already ran. Maybe ones that you can get in early before the run actually happens. All of that good stuff. I'm going to explain why I think they're worth watching as well. So if you want to see more content such as this, I highly encourage you to subscribe to this channel if you haven't visited here before. This channel is evolving, and that's kind of what I wanted to get into. Why I've had a little bit of a hiatus from the channel. There's a couple of things that went on. I had some really bad audio issues from podcasts and that sort of thing, but I really wanted to hunker down and improve the quality of my content. And for me putting out daily videos all the time, it made it really difficult to really focus on the quality of the content that I'm putting out. And I'm talking about like just camera angles, lighting, and all that stuff. So I just did a lot of research, did a lot of good stuff as far as like sound. So I sound better, I look better, all that good stuff. So I'm a little bit easier to watch. So look forward to that this week. The videos will be starting back up. Plus, we had some audio issues on some of our podcasts. So, like I said, the channel is evolving. I will never get away from Stockwatch Sunday. I'll never get away from putting out videos that are related to stocks. But I've realized that I have more than one passion, and this channel, Own the Chaos, can be taken in so many different ways. And so now that I've kind of developed myself as an entrepreneur, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about being an entrepreneur. And so that's why we have this barcast that we air from the Horseshoe Camo Saloon down in Baltimore City. And it's something that I really love doing. I'm having a blast doing it. So I know that like sometimes you guys may not want to watch that, and that's cool. So if you want to watch those barcasts, be on the lookout for those on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays will all be stock related. So that way, there's no confusion. So if it's a Sunday, Tuesday, or Thursday, you want to watch something about stocks, it'll be there for you. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the entrepreneurial barcast type of content will be on those days. So just to kind of, like I said, organize it all for you guys so that you know what you're watching when you're watching it. So, hey, thanks, Alan. Appreciate the donation, man. It's just so good to be back. It's so good to be back. What's going on, Jesse? Just welcome some other folks here. What's going on, Beam Me Up? Quick Fox. What's going on, Mike? Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate the welcome back. DCGD, yes. So DCGD was one that I picked. Hey, and so thanks for that, Kenneth. Good to see you, man. Peter, Mike, all you guys. All right. As per the usual. So if you aren't privy to this channel, if this is the first time you're visiting, as you saw that I was talking about, me being an entrepreneur, owning my own business. This is the business that I own. I'm the CEO, co-founder of WeTrade HQ, and this is a free platform for anybody to join. So if you go to WeTradeHQ.com, this is the homepage for WeTrade HQ. If you want to learn from any one of our mentors that are, within any area of the market, I'm primarily within the penny stock space. You got Don Fron here, trades a lot of ETFs. Primarily focuses on zones. That's his shtick. That's kind of like his area of expertise. You got Cameron over here, Young Money Investments. Those are like the paid services. Everything else is free though. So if I want to go and look up technical analysis over at WeTradeHQ.com, I'm going to type in something like TSOI, one of the stocks that I'm watching this week, and I can do that. A nice integrated trading view chart comes up. I can go to my favorite chart settings. I can pull up all of my favorite indicators. It's all there for you. Not only that, but you can also go to the forum and talk about it amongst your friends. Folks are already talking about this here as well. And so it's really just kind of like a great community to be a part of. We have over 4,500 members from around the globe learning and growing and celebrating each other's success, so that no matter what you're trading in the market, We Trade HQ is the place for you. So let's get to it. TSOI is one that I'm watching. This had some pretty unusual volume. So if we go back to the daily chart, and I'm going to pull up the KST indicator. If you guys aren't familiar with KST indicator, I highly encourage you to check out my morning mentorship where I explain a lot of this stuff. So it's no short thing on TradingView. And then I also like to look at RSI too, just to kind of observe oversold, overbought situations. And here you can see the last couple of days, TSOI has had some pretty unusual volume starting to turn back up after its pretty big lows here. And so this turn up here on the daily chart, it's kind of gotten me wanting to take a look at it. It's already starting to cross on the daily for the KST indicator. RSI is just hanging out right in the middle. This is kind of going to be just like a dark horse type of play for me. But the unusual volume that's kind of shown up on this has kind of got me wondering what's going on. And I was able to identify this was through my equity feed scanner. When I noticed this unusual volume, I took a look at the security details, and the total share structure isn't sexy. It's not great, but the float is what I'm looking at here. And at this price point at 0027, the float looks pretty darn good. So I think that if there's more volume that starts to come in next week, then we could see a nice little move up for TSOI. Now they have notes and stuff like that, but it looks like the faucet has kind of been turned off, if you will, in the terms of dilution. So looks like there hasn't been a lot of dilution on this, and so that's why people are starting to buy this up as well. So I think that TSOI is definitely one worth taking a look at, and if you see value in there and you want to take a position on it, I always like to try to look for good areas that make sense, areas of opportunity for like an area of support. If you can get in anything under in the 00 teens, 0015, 0019, I think that you're good. Honestly, if you can get in under 003, I think that it could be a good spot to be. If the dilution stays away and people start continuing to buy this up, it can make a nice, decent move to at least probably 005 or more, as long as dilution ends up staying away. Yeah, so I was just checking in with some of our folks here. So Jeff, I've been looking at SNWB, and he had some questions about it. So if you guys are watching, you're visiting for the first time, and you have some questions about tickers, present them like this. Ask me about a ticker, and then give me something to go off of, and I'll be happy to answer those once they get done going through the ones that I'm watching, and kind of give you my insight on the ones that you're watching. So keep them coming, and I'll address them as soon as I'm finished. I'm through here with my stuff. Next one's going to be DCGD. So DCGD was one that I brought up within the morning mentorship early last week. I was actually really surprised about this one and how it really kind of took off the way that it did. I wasn't really surprised that it went crazy. This had news of a merger early last week. We can go back and revisit that. 8K came out on the 1st. And, basically disclosing the merger that was taking place. And so that's why this thing went off. The other reason why it ran so hard on this was because of the share structure being as small as it is, 36 million in the float. It just took off like a rocket. I told my folks within morning mentorship that I was personally probably going to stay away just because of how thin this thing is. And there's always a double-edged sword to where if I didn't get in under 02, I wasn't going to chase it. Little did I know that it was going to go up over a dime. As it's continued to run, I was like, all right, now the momentum's really there. I really think that this is going to go much higher after the first day. Sure enough, it did. I told my folks, look for it to get up above 05 cents. Once it finally broke over 05, I was like, hey, listen, by the end of next week, or by the end of this week, talking to them last week, I would say probably it's going to go up over a dime. Actually, I had highs of over 12 cents on DCGD. Unbelievable move. There was really no way to kind of prepare for this, to be honest with you. When you have something that runs 2,000, 3,000%, you're kind of in no man's land at this point. And so I think that DCGD still has gas in the tank, though. And I would look for some sort of pullback if you're looking to see value in this, whether you want to just make a quick flip out of it or you want to, invest in this long term. Always buy low, sell high, right? That's always kind of the, I don't know, a rule of thumb or whatever. Everybody always says that, right? That's just kind of the cliche. But that's true. Looking for areas of support that actually make sense for you to buy instead of buying something way up here in the highs is really kind of what's going to pay off for you. So if you're looking for a quick flip, I would look for it to come back down to 07 as represented by this blue line here on DCGD. But I mean, it's super hot right now. I'm not going to touch it personally, but I still think it's worth talking about just because of how much it's actually ran. The company that's merging into DCGD is a funds company that helps cannabis companies really get funded because it's not legal on the federal level yet. The company that's merging in is basically what they do. That's their business. They help these cannabis companies, the smaller cannabis companies, really kind of get going and get the money, the capital they need to keep running. So it's going to be a huge business, I think. And so that's why there's a lot of people getting excited about it. And like I said, as you can see with the share structure being the way it is, it doesn't take much volume to really kind of get this thing going. So I think that, is this the end of the story? No, I don't think it is. But again, manage risk here. And if there's any kind of actual significant pullback and starting to see confirmations of a turn back up, that's when you want to get in, not here. So DCGD still definitely worth watching next week. We'll see where this continues to go. But I'm not going to tell folks to continue to get into this one as high as it is right now. Wait for some sort of confirmed pullback and make your decision there. Lots of folks within our morning mentorship did pick this up at below 02 and at the 2 cent range, and we're extremely happy. We managed our risk, sold half of our shares once it doubled, and we're scot-free, stress-free after that. Lots of folks experiencing crazy wins. This is how you build a small account. Managing that risk and getting to something that goes nuts like this, it's ever important to not get yourself wrapped up in the fact that it's just going to go, that this is going to be your life changer, right? Everybody buys into something and they always think that it's going to be something that just, I don't know. Every time they make some buying decision, I think that there's people out there that think that it's just going to change their life, right? I always tell people within my morning mentorship, or anybody, don't always protect your initial investment. When you buy into something, the number one priority is risk management, making sure that you're not going to lose money. Of course, everybody wants to make it, right? And that's the name of the game. That's why you trade in the first place, is to make money. But really, you're going to make money by protecting yourself and managing that risk and understanding that risk. So, once it starts to move to a certain point, you set your own price target, whatever it is that you feel comfortable with, your risk tolerance. Then you sell that initial investment. You let those free shares ride until you're comfortable with where they're at, and that's how you build your account. That's how you scale your account to. We've had folks that start off with very small amounts of money and now are doing this as a full-time job. So it's been pretty awesome to see. But just kind of wanted to stress that protecting that initial investment and managing that risk is ultimately what's going to be key down here, and that's how we win in the OTC. So next one that I wanted to talk about is WMTM. Before I do, let me check in with my folks here. Yes, press like, MN Silver. So thank you very much. If you guys are watching, I certainly would appreciate a thumbs up. If 43 watching, only 13 likes. Yeah, so let's get that up. Jesse said killed it on DCGD, $1,000 and $5,000. No problem, Jesse. Great trade, man. Nicely done, sir. So next one I'm going to watch is, I'm still watching. I'm actually in. I got into WMTM 008. I've been watching this one for quite some time. And Once Broke Mama, who's also within our morning mentorship, she's a veteran trader. So one of the advantages of being in the Only Chaos morning mentorship is that it's not just me. It's a village. It's a community. And I don't try to pretend like I know everything. And so I've asked some of my very close friends and mentors that have been trading in this game much longer than I have to help contribute to the cause, if you will. And so they've done an excellent job of bringing things to light. And so what Once Broke Mama does, she's very good at reading filings and court cases in particular, but she shared this custodianship of WMTM back in April. So this has been something that we've been keeping ourselves on the radar for quite some time. And then this showed up just last week. 2 weeks ago on WMTM, that the merger is actually happening. So since the appointment, the custodian investigated possible candidates for merger or reverse merger to bring an active and viable business model to White Mountain Titanium Corp. On June 26, 2019, the custodian concluded negotiations with the best candidate and is now in the process of executing transaction documents. So the merger is happening, guys. The custodian expects to bring the corporation current by July 5th, 2019, and shortly thereafter expects to give notice of shareholders meeting to approve the transaction and elect new officers and directors. So after that happens, I mean, we're still waiting on filings. So sometimes I think the key word here is expects to bring the corporation current by July 5th. Given the fact that we had an Independence Day in there, I'm sure there's probably some sort of delay. I think best case scenario would have been July 5th. I'm expecting probably somewhere between early this week, maybe by Wednesday, we'll see those filings to get themselves current. But this is exciting stuff. They do have a merger candidate in place, and so it'd be interesting to see who that merger candidate is. They've already reinstated themselves as of the 2nd. If you go to Nevada Secretary of State, as we all know, this is one of the key things that needs to happen in order for the reverse merger to take place. So, now all it is a waiting game for WMTM to get their filings in order so they can get current, so they can let us know what the heck is going on. So, as I told you guys, 008 is where I got in at, where most of our folks with the morning mentorship got in at, and most of us are riding on free shares at this point. It's already gone as high as nearly 5 cents from 008. In case you haven't done the math yet, that's over 500%. Yes, that's a real thing here in the OTC. If you're not familiar with that, 500%, kind of a drop in the bucket a lot of times. DCGD, again, another prime example of that, going from sub penny all the way up to 12 cents, 3,000% run in a week's time. So this stuff happens all the time. Like I said, managing that risk is something that you really kind of need to get a handle on. And so that's why I have that morning mentorship for folks. If you're interested in checking that out. So WMTM, still looking forward to those filings, and that's why I continue to have this on watch next week. PRED is another one. That's the next one that I wanted to talk about. And actually, newsflash, this will be the last OTC that I talk about tonight. I do have 2 NASDAQ stocks that I'm talking about as well, that I'm looking at as well, that I think are worth taking a gander at. Looking at the daily chart on PRED, this is finally started to settle down some. And I think a lot of the selling off has been because people are probably afraid or bored with the fact that they have yet to have uplisted. So Pred, we've been watching this one for probably about 8 weeks or so. I'm in Pred. I've invested in Pred. I'm using this as a long-term investment. I have a pretty diverse portfolio of all kinds of different positions. I have positions that I would consider long-term positions, ones that I would invest in even in upwards of years or probably. So my longer-term something that I would consider that I'm investing in is something that I'm planning on holding for a year or longer. PRED is one of those stocks. So I'm not paying attention to the day-to-day. I know there's a lot of people that like to day trade stuff like this. But for me personally, this is something that I actually think that it's worth holding on to. As we've discussed before, they've applied to uplist to NASDAQ. That was back on May 2nd. We're 8 weeks from that date now. So I would imagine that any day is when we're going to hear some sort of news as to whether or not the uplisting is going to be complete. This week could definitely be it. Now that it started to settle out a little bit, it's allowed people some opportunity to either add to their positions. Actually fell down below $4 last week and just came right back up. Anytime people saw it come down below $4, it looked like there was just nothing but scooping up happening. There's a lot of shorting that took place over the last couple of weeks, and so I think that's what scared a lot of folks. But for me personally, I'm just chilling on it. And like I said, this is something that I would consider a longer term investment. if you have other liquidity to trade with and you want to, put some money into something that you think could have some good long-term potential, I think PRED or predictive technology is one of those ones to definitely do that with. Let me just check in with some other folks. All right, let's see here. Seems like word is the probable uplist Tuesday. We'll see. I mean, there's always hearsay, right? I don't usually buy into the rumor a whole lot and take it as fact. There's a ringer. There's a reason they call it a rumor, right? So it's not something that I would really take as fact. But I'm just going to say that it's certainly possible that it could happen this week. I'm not going to buy into the fact that it could, or that it will, I should say. Are your charts in real time during trading hours? So very good question. The WeTrade HQ charts are delayed. We are working on upgrading those so you guys could take advantage of the free or of the charts in real time. But that's something that we're planning on upgrading in the future. Haven't decided yet if it's going to be something that I would necessarily charge people for, or it would just be free. If we can afford to do it for free and just give it to people, that's something that we're really looking forward to doing. If it's not in the cards to do that, then we may end up charging folks. Just haven't decided what we're going to do with that yet. So very good question. I will say that on anything other than over-the-counter stocks, all your big board stocks, cryptocurrencies, the price action is in real time. So just to give you an example, I know Bitcoin's trading right now. So if you go to Bitcoin, the chart is delayed, but the price action up here at the top is in real time. So any of the NASDAQ stuff and cryptocurrency is going to be all in real time. As you can see, the price action is changing here. So that's something that you can kind of take notice of. Any penny stocks tradable on Robinhood that you like, Drew? Very good question, and so that's why I wanted to talk about a couple of them. NIO is one that we've been watching within my morning mentorship. This is one that you can trade on Robinhood. This is not an over-the-counter stock. This is on NASDAQ, and I think that this is a really good one. This is a Chinese-based electric vehicle company, and ever since talks on the G20 summit have been doing well, NIO has been getting bought up. A lot of us got into this around $2.50. I think that this could go back to its previous highs, even in the $10 range, as long as Chinese and U.S. Stay civil with each other. I think we could see NIO continue to rise. It was perfect timing because, as a lot of you guys know, if you follow Tesla just came out with over 95,000 cars sold in Q2, which bodes well for other companies that are in that space, NIO being one of them. I think we'll see a nice continuation. As you can see here on the daily chart, KSC indicators starting to really open up here. RSI is really starting to get a little spicy, but I think that we'll continue to see some really nice buying. It was really good to see this up over 330. And if it can get up over around 350, I think we could start to see a breakout of NIO. I'd really like to see it get back up to this channel of $5 or so. Because if it gets up to here to this resistance at $5 and breaks above that, I think it's clear skies really until it gets up to the $10 range. So if like I said, if talks between U.S. and China can still remain civil and somewhat positive, that would bode extremely well for NIO. And this is just one we've been watching for quite some time. Last one I wanted to talk about was gold. And I'm actually going to go to my Thinkorswim platform to kind of talk to you guys about gold. And this is actually the ticker symbol GOLD. If you can trade your favorite metal on whatever you want, ETF, futures, whatever. But I just simply, JNUG, you want to trade anything like that as it relates to precious metals, it's becoming extremely predictable. These metals, if you want to trade silver, palladium, copper, I think copper is actually lagging behind quite a bit, but I think copper a case could be made there to be trading something like copper. But gold has just been, and in particular, the ticker symbol GOLD has been extremely predictable. And so I was talking to my folks in my morning mentorship, and I was like, hey, listen, if you just want something that you could trade the first, I don't know, 30 minutes of the day, and it's summertime, and you don't want to waste your whole entire summer looking at a computer screen every day, this is one you could almost put on autopilot. GOLD had a big sell-off pre-market on Friday. I told my folks, if this bounces off this nice little support here at the open, GOLD could run back up. Sure enough, it did. It came all the way down to around $15.20, ran all the way back up close to $16. If this goes back up and breaks up over here at 16 flat, if it breaks up over 16 bucks, we could see it go back to its previous high of 16.5 cents. Could be a great little move here. So just worth taking a look at. I think these precious metals are going to be something to continue to watch as the economy, as fear still is, how do I want to say it? So we talked about previously the tensions between Iran and the U.S. Anytime you see military conflict like that, people are going to be scooping up gold. Anytime there's fear in the market about the economy and that there's going to be some sort of correction, people will start buying up gold. It's kind of crazy to watch how SPY has seen record highs and gold still keeps on going up, because I think there's a lot of people buying gold in anticipation of some sort of correction happening. So usually, though, when you see the Dow or S&P 500 come down, that's when gold ends up going up. But they're going up together. So that still tells me that I think that it's worth buying up gold. Excuse me, whether you're looking at it from a long-term perspective or you want to day trade it like we've been doing it here, I think it's worth taking a look at. Like I said, you could almost put this on autopilot and make a career out of trading gold over the summertime. You really could. It's been really predictable. So I see your questions, guys, and I'm going to get to them in just a sec. Just going to kind of observe them real quick. So, Drew, I hope that I gave you some insight on NIO and GOLD. Those are ones that you could definitely trade on Robinhood. And, like I said, you just have to look for good, solid areas of entry, and you can make some really good flips out of those. Yeah, and that's why we're seeing Bitcoin go up as well, and all the cryptocurrencies go up, because if they're not buying gold, they're buying cryptocurrency. So if people are afraid of the market and what might happen, that's where they're going to. So that's why I think Bitcoin's actually held quite well over 10,000. So great observation. There actually is a good platform for free, Drew, and I am actually working on partnering with them. They do trade OTCs. It's zero commissions. Stay tuned. I'll just say stay tuned. I'm working very closely. We're getting really close to a deal between WeTrade HQ and this company, and I don't want to spill the beans just yet, but just be on the lookout for that. That's something I'm super excited about. Hey, Blade Runner, good to see you, man. All right, so SRDPD. Very good question. I still see a lot of value in SRDPD. I've gone over it at length, though, and there isn't anything that's telling me that it's going to go crazy next week. So that's why I have Stock Watch Sundays, because these are the stocks that I think that are actually going to make some sort of move in the coming week. SRDPD, I still think, is a really good long-term hold because of the everything that they have going on, and I've gone into detail at length with SRDPD and all of the due diligence that they have going on. Over 100,000 mine positions. Unbelievable. And I think it's just been flying under the radar all this time. They went through that reverse split. I think that SRDPD, the D is probably supposed to drop, I think, this week. And it'll just go back to the regular old SRDPD. Yeah, so there you go. So we're on the same wavelength, TT. So I think they did all that so that they could uplist to NASDAQ. So should be interesting to see once they do uplist how many more eyeballs will be coming on SRDPD, SRDP. Like I'm so used to saying SRDPD now that I'm gonna be saying it for the next week. But SRDPD, I think the D's supposed to drop this week, and I think they'll be applying to uplist the NASDAQ. Maybe not in the summer, but look for that in the fall. I think it'll happen. Somebody had a question earlier, and I knew I was going to get to it. Been looking at here we go. So Jeff, Let me take a look here. Looking at SNWB, looks like a good buy and spot at 1369, but haven't seen much news, maybe a long-term hold. So here's what I'll say about long-term holds. There has to be some sort of story. There has to be something that's there that says, okay, there is something happening in the future. There has to be something coming. So let me just refresh my memory. SNWV. So we'll take a look at the chart first. Whenever I'm doing due diligence on a new stock, I'm going to go look at the chart first and see if there's any kind of like heavy loading going on. Has there been some decent accumulation? Anything like that. As you alluded to, closed on Friday, 1369. Some pretty heavy selling here over the last week. Maybe that could be just because of the holiday, people just getting rid of positions or what have you. It doesn't look that illiquid. So let's see. So, chart doesn't look too bad. Let's go pull up some indicators and so I can give you an idea. I don't know if you bought into this or not. If anybody's looking to buy into this, we'll just look at this and see if there's any decent, support levels that you could potentially buy from. I'm not seeing anything as far as the area of solid support. Honestly, I'm actually seeing a breakdown here on the chart. This channel looks like it broke down and it's going for lower lows here. So I would be looking to see where this is actually going to consolidate at. I wouldn't say that this is necessarily a buy just yet, just because it keeps on going down. So it's going to have to level off at some point. For me to say, hey, yeah, this looks like it's going to be a good area of accumulation if you're looking to accumulate a position. I'm just not seeing that here yet on the chart, but let's go ahead and look at other stuff. So the next part of my due diligence, I'm going to go and look at what's going on in OTC markets. Going to pull up the first thing I'm going to look up is security details, looking at share structure. That's actually not too bad. Something that's being traded at 13 cents. With about 140, we'll just say 140 million in the float. As that's probably the most recently is 140 million because this was from 2 months ago. So 140 million is probably the more accurate number here as far as the float's concerned. That's a really great number for something at this price point. And what else do they have going on? So they have had news on the 21st. This is just another article, really. Not much. It's kind of like leading me to believe that I should be buying this up, Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the disclosures and I'm going to pull up the most recent quarterly filing. And I'm going to look through and see how much debt do they have? What do they have yet to convert? So are they going to be diluting for a while or what? And so I can see here that they have a convertible promissory notes, and that this is nothing else. If they don't have anything else, then that's $2.7 million in convertible notes that they still have outstanding. So that's why you're seeing the chart break down like this. For me personally, I'm probably going to say no. This is going to be a no for me. Unless for whatever reason there's a pause on the conversion of their notes for maybe like a short-term play. I don't see any good long-term potential on this one until they get this all cleaned up. So I think this is a great example of just, going through the due diligence and going through everything to determine whether or not there's value to be had here. And for me personally, I think that maybe if they have something going on later on down the line, sure, but they got to get rid of these notes and get those cleaned up before I would say, yeah, it's probably worth jumping in on. So hope that helps. We already covered SRDPD. What else we got? INTV is a QB 1,000 rigs running by August 1st. Is that another INTV? I think it's another crypto stock. They've actually had a lot of drama on Twitter. I don't know if somebody needs to get control of INTV's Twitter account. It's a little bit rough. Am I still holding ELGL? I have a little bit of ELGL. I don't have much. I'm hoping for some sort of news release from them, but I don't have much of ELGL left. INKW, haven't seen any updates from INKW. They did have a PR a couple weeks ago about them being 99% ready to go as far as bringing the bottling facility up to date. CRBTF news after hours. Yeah, so CRBTF, so that is another cryptocurrency related one, if I'm not mistaken. We'll talk about that. So I still think that SRDPD is probably the number one cryptocurrency penny stock that you could buy. SRBTF, from what I understand, I haven't done as much due diligence as I should have. Over the last couple of weeks, though, it's gotten some serious volume on this one. And so let me see. Let's see. Management of Kryptonite has entered into negotiations with a large European cryptocurrency exchange company for possible business combination and product development. So I think that, let's see here. SRBTF. There it is, Kryptonite blockchain. So this is another cryptocurrency related one. Again, we're going to go through and just kind of check this out. So share structure looks fantastic. It's not going to take much for this thing to really kind of go off, as long as there's enough buying volume come in, and we can see that it's already done that. It's gone from 2 cents to highs of over 7 cents on not a whole lot of volume. It's come back down here. Let's go back to the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart is a little bit scary. It's pretty choppy. So, but I think that case could be made that a reasonable entry could be somewhere around 4 cents. 0398 looks like it's kind of bounced off of that support level quite a few times. So from a technical perspective, I think that somewhere around this area could be a good spot to get into. Maybe even if you get lucky around 3.7 or 3.8, but anywhere around between 3.7 and 4 cents, probably a good spot to add there. Again, share structure is good. They came out with news, as you stated. Oh, that's not the right news I was looking for. 7.5 on Friday. After hours, pleased to announce the management of Kryptonite entered in negotiations with large European companies. So that's really great news. Obviously, going to add a lot more value to this company getting involved in the European space. Asia and Europe, I think, are probably more heavily involved in cryptocurrency than even the U.S. is. And not just talking about Bitcoin, I'm talking about just other forms of cryptocurrency. And so I think that this probably could be a really great move, and giving the setup that's here, as far as the share structure and the chart's concerned, could be a nice little move for CRBTF coming next week, especially since that PR came after hours. The only thing I don't like about PRs that come in after hours on Friday is, like, if you're going to put it on Friday, I know a lot of people or a lot of companies are like, well, let's let it stew over the weekend. But sometimes the air gets, comes out, as far as, the of the room, if you will. Like, so I think that people stew on it for too long and then they kind of forget about it. Hopefully I'm wrong about CRBTF. I would have much rather seen them put it out the PR pre-market on Monday. But I'm sure it'll get a move on, especially with that share structure being what it is. Australis, AUSAF, getting ready to make a move. Chart looks good. So yeah, so AUS, let me see. SAF, right? AUSAF. AUSAF, yes. Oh, why didn't it come up? Hold on. Yeah. AUSAF, just to give you a little backstory, AUSAF is Australis. They have connection with BMMJ. As you guys know, that I have, I'm invested in BMMJ. They both have, between AUSAF and BMMJ, they have strong connections with Aurora Cannabis, which, as you gues know, they are a multi-million-dollar cannabis company. So didn't they come up with news recently on the 3rd? Let's see, early warning news release, Australis Capital. They had something else going on with them, though, too. What else was it? They were getting funding or something like that. So I think between Australis and BMMJ, here's the other thing about the weed sector. So if you guys are getting in anything that's when it comes to the cannabis industry, this is a slow period of time. I think things will start picking back up with things like AUSAF, BMMJ, all those other weed stocks, ACB. They'll start to pick back up come late August, early September, somewhere around there, people will start, because that's when a lot of them, the harvest comes through. It's very cyclical. It's starting to become that way anyway. So between August and I would say March, that's when, you know, the weed stocks really start to pick back up again. Right now, could be a decent time to get into anything that's weed related, because you're getting in before anybody else starts to take notice again. So look for areas that make sense as far as reasonable entries. And, you know, if you're looking for a long-term swing on something, I think AUSAF, BMMJ, ACB, all those are going to be good to take a look at to make some pretty decent swings on. There it is. Blaze Capital released a video about AUSAF. I thought it was something along those lines. So thanks for that. Appreciate it. All right. That's it, guys. So comments seem to be drying up, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. If you like this video, it's good to be back. It's good to connect with all of you again. And so please give me a thumbs up. I certainly would appreciate that. This is free content, something I'm giving you for free. A lot of these stocks that have come off Stock Watch Sunday have ran thousands of % or more. So do your own due diligence, as I always say. Make sure that you're making those decisions based off of something that you're comfortable with and something that you understand. And, you know, if you want to see more content such as this and you want to learn how to become a full-time trader, or maybe just be your own boss, subscribe to this channel, click that thumbs up or the notification bell, and so that you get notified every time that I put a video up. And that is it for me, guys. As always, I will see you all before the bell, and B Smith is out. See you tomorrow.